Hello and welcome. My name is Dottie Berry, and you have arrived at the Conscious Creator Mentoring Network. Each Thursday night, I interview some of the great people who are mentoring, coaching, authoring throughout the world. People like Les Brown, Kevin Harrington, and all of those type of people are part of our Conscious Creator Mentoring Network, bringing the best of the best to you. And I am a coach and a mentor, a trainer, a speaker myself, and I am president and CEO of Training to Transform Global Enterprises. Tonight, I'm really excited to have as my guest, Miss Babsy B. Are you there, Babs?
I am here, Dottie. Hi.
Great to have you. I tell you what, let me give you a proper introduction after I give the Conscious Creator Network a proper introduction. Imagine this. People in the past, such as the Jack Canfields and those type of speakers, in order to get their message out, they pretty much didn't have a home life because you have to be on the road pretty much 360 something days a year to really get the message out to people. We didn't have things like Google Hangouts and the technology that we have today. So this Conscious Creator Mentoring Network is making it possible to leverage our time because I'm sitting here in the comfort of my home. How about you, Babs?
I am in the comfort of my home.
So this is what's great. We can have something that we offer to the world, but we can do it via technology. People in Greece, in Singapore, in Canada, in the US, wherever you are, you could be watching this right now. So anyway, my guest tonight is Babsy B. She is an author, an educator, renowned educator, I might add, and she has recently created a brand new set of 8 books that are absolutely amazing. In fact, my niece is 3 years old, my grandniece, or great niece, however you say, is 3 years old, and she loves I'm 3. Oh my goodness, she just got that recently when I ordered all of your books, and she's absolutely delighted. So, Babs, I want to ask you some questions. I mean, what literally empowered you in such a way to consciously create what you're doing? What are you on a mission to do in life now with your books and with your legacy?
Dottie, that's a big question. I am on a mission to reach every child, every parent, and every teacher with a very simple message of how to help every new baby or every 12-year-old, regardless the age, to be a success in reading and writing and all learning.
Well, you know, I have to tell you, the teachers that I had, they made such an impact for me, Babs. My first and second grade teacher, Miss Stanfield and Miss Terry, I got such a good background in reading that it's impacted the rest of my life, you know, and continues to do so. It gave me a love for reading, and I would go every summer to the East Point Library in Georgia and, you know, check out my books, and I just had excitement. They helped me be excited about reading. Why do you think that is so important for children?
Book experience is critical for children. Language experience, because everything that comes into their ears in language, talk, that they like, they want to hear it again and again and again and again so that they can say it. And I say so that they can own it. When they own it, then they can say it. And they can say it whenever they like.
Yeah, that's great. So, you know, here's the thing that I think is important for the platform that we're on tonight, and it's about mentoring. And I believe personally that mentors are the #1 key in people's success, whether it's relationship or business. And you have mentored many, many children throughout your career. And I just think there's no doubt about the impact. And that's why Chris Crone, who is the founder of the Conscious Creator Mentoring Network, wanted to put a platform together, because Babs, he knows there's people like you out there who need a bigger platform. And if we don't get your information out to the world will be the loser. So there's so many people like you that have something to offer. And that's his goal, because he has told me, Dottie, I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on mentoring. And I've thought to myself, not everybody can afford that. I'm fortunate that I can. So we're going to, before this is over, share with people how this type of mentoring on all levels can be possible for them. But right now, let's get back to you and what you're doing. You have told me that you are on a mission to do a brain dump of everything in your head so that you can leave behind this legacy, because you know that what you have gained over the last 50 years needs to be shared. How are you going about doing that? That's a big task.
It is. It's a colossal brain drain. I feel an urgent need to take everything that I've learned that works with children and share it with adults, with the parents and the teachers, who can then, in other words, I'm mentoring them so that they can mentor the children, but I'm also mentoring the children at the same time. A brain drain.
Let me ask you about that real quick, because I think that's a very key point. You are mentoring the children, but in the process, you're literally mentoring the adults, because let's face it, none of us get any real education on how to be a parent. That's unfortunate, because it's one of the most important roles in life, that and finances. I don't remember getting any of that in school. Do you, Babs? I mean, it's kind of like you learn as you go, people do.
Babies,
so what's the process for mentoring these adults?
Babies don't come with a manual. I try to help parents to have that manual by modeling constantly how it works. And how it works really is to talk to them, to read aloud to them, and then to focus talk, do what I call focus talk from that familiar literature, around that familiar literature in everyday living, so that children see how a word fits into life. It isn't just a word on the sign or in the book. It is a word that really is meaningful. So I want to hear it again, is what the child says. I want to hear that again. I call those desserts. Anything that causes children to say, do it again. Which means Good Night Moon, which means all of those Dr. Seuss books, they want to hear again and again and again.
So your basic message is talk, 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 read aloud every day, and focus. Now, what does that focus mean?
Well, it means to take the language right off the page and put it into life. Just like we as adults who have read Catch-22, we're forever saying, I'm in a real Catch-22. And we're focusing our talk. We're taking that language right off the page and using it in our daily lives in a meaningful way, which is the reason that we read. So in order to get children to be excited about doing that, reading that, we start with talk. We talk, talk, talk. We immerse their ears and their tongues in the vocabulary and the knowledge of the world around them, those two prerequisites for all learning. Once they've heard it and can say it, then we ask the eyes, we invite the eyes to come and join this party and read. And we invite the hands to come and join the party to write those same words that we heard again and again and that we learned to say. So I immerse these two parts so that the eyes and the hands can do the reading and the writing. And a child who does not have the immersion of the oral language, hearing it and saying it, that child is not prepped to learn to read. They're not ready for phonics. And I've written all sorts of books on phonics. But
very interesting. So
first,
let me ask you, I've heard you talk about the power of the eyes with kids. Tell us a little bit about that.
oh, eyes are powerful when they are on a child and they are looking at the speaker. So we always want children to look, anybody, we want eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever talked to someone and their eyes are down on the floor or up on the ceiling or any place but on you? How do you feel? You don't feel connected.
Right.
When I see a child, when I go up to a child and I ask them some question that is not answerable with a yes or a no, because then that conversation is ended. They'll say yes or no, and that's it. So I ask them a what, or a why, or a how, or a which. Like, how is school treating you? I always get this long answer in return. Now, when the eyes look at me or don't look at me, I say, oh, where are your powerful eyes? If I don't see them. And immediately, those eyes are looking at me like, are you crazy, lady? What are you talking about, powerful eyes? So they look at me and I say, you know how I know those eyes are powerful? And they're ready to hear. I say, because they're looking at me when we're talking. And that makes me feel really important that you would look at me when we're talking. And you know, that's a magical little poem that I wrote and a song called Powerful Eyes. And it's just something that children taught me in interacting with children.
Well, you know, that's great for anybody to remember when we're talking about that power, because a couple of things that you said, ask people questions that can't be answered yes or no. It's a great lesson in business. If we want to know something about the product, we might say, what did you like best about such and such? And when we're talking about the eyes, if I were to say to somebody, why aren't you looking at me? That's going to put the walls up for that individual. And they're going to do exactly what you don't want them to do. They're going to be looking away because they don't want to engage. So I think these messages that you're sharing with children are very powerful as a foundational piece into being the future conscious creators. And that's what we're talking about here today is how do we begin to be a conscious creator in life? And that really means looking at what we want to create, how we're going to create it, visualizing getting there. And this is so important that children start this at a very young age. And, you know, sometimes the dreams of anybody, especially children, get shot down early. And that's why later in life, they may not be achieving because their dreams have been shot down. At the Conscious Creator Mentoring Network, we want to lift people up. And we want to say to people, you know, the dreams that you have are important. And more important is if you have created something, we want to help it, spread it throughout the world. And that's why we're even having you on tonight, Babs. So how does that play into what you're doing and what you're teaching through your reading?
Well, I'm working with the child from birth or pre-birth. I often say that I write for pre-womb to post-tomb. When you always want to know, what age do you write for? Well, that's a pretty wide span. A baby needs to hear interactive language. A baby needs to be talked with and read to. So what do you put in a book for a newborn? Well, I write books, my new Babsy B board book series 1, which tells you there's going to be a series 2 and there's going to be a series 3 of the Babsy B board book series. For the baby, the newborn, So Big. So Big is a little board book that invites the baby to interact. How big are you? So big, I am so big too. Black bear, black bear. No, it's black dog, how big are you? So big, I am so big too. So it's a message of how important I am. But in the process, I'm being interactive and I'm learning how to answer a question. So this is reading preparation from birth. Because in reading, we are teaching children how to interact with the text, how to make those words make sense in their lives. And we often use a strategy called the call and response. So I have all of my books, I'm always inviting the child to be interactive with the text or with the reader, one or the other. I Can You is in the Babsy board book series, and it's for 1-year-olds. And it is because the 1-year-old, it relates to the 1-year-old's developmental stage, both physically and cognitively. The 1-year-old is noticing that they can do things. They can do things. They can say words. They can touch. They can tell you where their nose is. They can tell you where their ears are. So all of these things are in I Can You. And it's all I can see. I have 2 eyes. Do you? Do you? And I can see. I can you? So it's constantly something that I can do, and can you do it too? I can bend. Can you? Can you? So it's inviting children to interact with me or with the text, with language. Who Choose is for 2-year-olds. No, I'm sorry, it's the one in the one, also 1+. But now when I put an age on those books, it's 1+, which means 1-year-olds all the way through kindergarten, sometimes 1st grade, and for children who are learning English as a second language. The content is such that it can be used at a wide span, but it's definitely for that particular age in developmental language. Who Choose is for the child who has new teeth, and these things are in the mouth, and why are they there? They won't go away. No matter what I do, I feel them with my tongue. So in other words, I'm thinking the way the child thinks, and then I write from that perspective. So it's all about Who Choose, giving child the language and the knowledge for what's happening to their bodies. Who Choose? I'm sorry, you had a question.
I just wanted to acknowledge what you're saying here, because I think, not only are you talking about their physical bodies, but you're talking about their mindset. And that is one of the most important components, I think, foundational components, because I hear so many times somebody say, oh, they think it's all about them. And, when somebody shows up in life like that, it's usually somebody who is actually the opposite has happened along the way. They were never acknowledged properly coming along, because when that good sense of self is properly acknowledged, it doesn't have to be all about them all of their life. You know what I'm saying? So this is really interesting foundational concepts that you are offering for children. I think it's one of the most important ages, because when I talk to people over and over again in my coaching over the years, things that came back to them were things that happened when they were very young, 2, 3, and 4 years old, and they remember those, and they're still operating off of that that input that was given to them, which is no longer even valid. So if we can get the good stuff going in, it's phenomenal the dreams that we can make happen for kids as they move into adulthood. So this is why I think this is so not just essential, but critical what you're doing.
One of the things that comes to mind when you say that is we're forever telling the 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, don't touch, don't touch. Always that negative. I try to take those negative times and turn them into positive times. So I wrote, I touch gently, watch me touch. Look how I touch gently, look how I touch gently. I can touch, I can touch. Giving the child permission to touch everything in the environment, because that's exactly what the baby, the 1-year-old, the 2-year-old, they're exploring, and that's what we want them to do. So I give them a tool that they can learn to do, and they're learning what I call a wow word at the same time, gently.
That's amazing. You know, I'm a former coach at the University of Kentucky women's basketball, and I share this analogy with people. I say, if you call timeout with 2 minutes to go, and you go, don't foul, whatever you do, don't foul. Well, with 2 minutes to go, they need some information that will help them. And if the player then goes out there and fouls, the coach should not become upset with the player, because what you did was you just ingrained into their mind, you thought you're telling them what you didn't want to do, but it'll cause the opposite behavior. So these kind of things are really brilliant. What 2-year-old do you know that doesn't want to touch? I mean, this is what it means to be human. We want it. And so I love your style of teaching and what you're doing. And one of the reasons I think this is important for our Conscious Mentoring Network is because, you know, all of these mentors that are coming on board, I think a lot of them probably have children. And so my goal is to get you to become a part of our platform, because that way we can really spread what you're doing, and that way we can have links back to your materials, and that way we can joint venture in the future with your new book series and take it to a wider audience. So I want to say to people who are listening, if you're a person like Babs, maybe you're an author, maybe you are a trainer, a creator of any type of material, we're going to say to you, give something to the community, okay, and go through the process of becoming a mentor. There is a process, you know, that you fill out, and then, you know, you become a mentor, but it's going to help everybody. And I want to just kind of share this right now, Babs. I mean, we've talked about mentoring as one of the most important things that is the key to success for people. And so what we do is, rather than having people have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to go out and pay for these various programs for our mentors, where they're charging thousands of dollars, you can come in, and for $99 a month, you can actually participate and get unlimited mentors. You can click on any of them. Let's say you start on one and that doesn't quite resonate with you. Well, you haven't paid thousands of dollars, so you can just go, well, that one didn't work for me. I think I'll check out somebody else. But I'm sure most of them, you're just going to stick with it. And the goal is to collect 12 mentors per year. Babs, can you imagine at the end of the year how you would have shifted or changed if you had 12 new mentors during the next year?
Absolutely.
I mean, I think it's amazing. Now, what I want you to hear, though, is this is a let's be in it together type of platform. You're not going to pay $99 a month if you simply share this platform and bring some other people on. If you bring 3 people on the platform, yours will be at no cost to you at that point. It's sort of like reward cards. Babs, do you have any reward cards where you get rewarded for your MasterCard and Visa or your points for airplane miles?
I do.
Amen. I love that. I tell you what, I'm going to be in Phoenix next week at an event, and I'm going to be using Marriott points in that not costing me any additional funds. So I love this type of program that we're doing. I also want to share with people that it is a program where we have a pay it forward component. Every time somebody gets one of those mentor memberships, it's like a Costco or anything else that you find of value. You know, you find something of value, you want to be a member of it. So when you're a member of the Conscious Creator Mentor Network, then every time you buy one of those, somebody gets one at no cost. We have a lady right now in Jamaica who has a street business. She's being given that mentoring membership to help her. I love that pay it forward component. So now back to you, Babs, and what you're doing with your books. Where do you see this going? I mean, I know you're doing this brain drain, you're creating this legacy, but what's next for you?
What's next is continuing to drain the brain. I do everything that I do. I am trying to find a platform to put it. It may become a poem, for instance. It's not just a poem in my files. It becomes a poster. It becomes a product with all sorts of activities for children to do, or teachers to do, or parents to do with children. Say I'm opening a store called Be with Babsy B, an online store at teacherspayteachers.com. So that's going to be one of the fingers, so to speak. My books, my new series of books is another, and I have over 100 books that are already published with publishers, and 350 to 400 poems that are already published.
Wow.
Now I am going in, I have to go fast forward. I have to go fast because I don't anticipate that I have maybe more than another 100 years to have my feet on this peaceful planet. And my goal is to build peace in this world, one baby child at a time. So I wrote Peaceful Me, which is a book of peace poems and activities for tiny children, for preschoolers, kindergartners. And it's all about peace, how I can be peaceful. I am peaceful me. Just little poems, songs, ways for them to look at life in a positive way and to have hope. One of the things that I do is to build hope, to give children a reason to get out of bed in the mornings. If they know that they're going to have a fun piece of literature shared with them that day, a new chapter in the chapter book that I'm going to read aloud, whatever it is. I used to spend my drive, 20-mile drive on the way to school. I would spend that coming up with, okay, what am I going to do today that is going to be so exciting that it's going to give me energy all day long, and it's going to build hope and peace and power in my children in my class. So all of those things now are being drained, as I call it, to share them with the world, build that legacy. One of the ways is that my books and poems and songs are available with a new distributor that we just hooked up with, and we're very excited. motherslounge.com, my Babsy B board book series are available there. And there will be more series. And my Don't Go Out in Your Underwear book is a book that's been a bestseller, and it just continues to delight kids of all ages, meaning adults. Kids of all ages.
There you go.
Yes.
Well, this is the type of thing, Babs, that we want to do. You know, we know that there are many people like you that are great mentors for children and for adults, all the way across the board. And we know that you need to reach a wider audience. So people like yourself can actually become a mentor if you are accepted after you fill out your application at no cost to you to be a part of the Conscious Creator Mentoring Network as a mentor. That's one part. Then you have the opportunity, because it's sort of like, wow, if people are going to see my mentoring, wouldn't I like to get some of that mentoring too? Because we all continue to learn. My daily mantra is Ankara Imparo, and that means I am still learning. And Michelangelo actually stated that after painting the Sistine Chapel, and I go, It's good enough for him. It's good enough for me. At the age of 87 now, said that. So Ankara and Paro, we're still learning, Babs. And I know that's what I want to do, and that's what you want to do. But we also know that people love to have affiliate programs. So we're no different. We know that even though Babs comes in and becomes a mentor, there might be people who follow her that want to promote you on the platform and receive a little affiliate commission on that. So we allow that too. There's different levels that people can do. And for those of you who are watching this, and one says it's about becoming a conscious creator mentor, okay? So you can go on that and look through and see how, if you're a person like Babs, you can actually become a mentor on the network. There's a process, but how you can also be mentored, paying that $99 a month or getting 3 people, and yours is free. Love those rewards. You know, and also, I should say, and or become an affiliate and pass your link along so that people can follow people that you like who are mentors. So there's a lot of different things that can be done here to engage in whatever way works for you. So click on some of those buttons down there and see what's going on. I will tell you this. We have different hangouts every Thursday night where I interview people like Babsy B. Last week, I was interviewing a gentleman named Dan O'Donnell. He's the creator of the Better Me game. Babs, you would love this. And he has 825,000 people who are a part of his Positive Atmosphere Facebook group. So you can see the kind of people that we are bringing on to interview. Because, Babs, let me share with you, you tapped into something that Chris Crone is adamant about. At the end of the day, when all of this is said and done, what he's about is world peace. And Chris is a conscious creator, and he and I and Dan and people like yourself, we really believe that's possible. And it's only going to be possible as those of us who choose to be conscious creators band together and help one another spread the messages of things that we have created so that we indeed can bring about world peace. And it begins with each one of us, and then it expands by collaborating in a huge, huge way as we all consciously create. You know, Babs, there's one story I want you to share with us about how you deal with children about being reticent and how that's a languaging versus being what? Well, I'll let you tell them about that.
All right. When I meet we're getting some feedback there. When I'm having this wonderful contact with the child, and then the parent enters the scene and says, "Oh, she's shy," and I immediately see the child pop around behind the parent and becomes exactly what the parent has just explained to me. So I say, "Oh, you mean reticent. Your child is being reticent." If you feel a need to say, explain your child's behavior, which was not shy at all, as it appears, use the word reticent. Your child, this is way above your child's understanding level at this point. The comprehension is not there. So, and when the comprehension is there, then you have taught a wow word. A wow word, that's one of the things I've been doing for 45 years now. Wow words. A wow word is any word, to me, it is any word that causes the listener to stop and listen and pay attention and say, "Wow, did you hear what she said?" Meaning this child. So this big word comes out of the little mouth and it causes positive attention. Every child wants positive attention. They often go about trying to get it in a negative way because we tend to reinforce the negativity by saying, "Oh, you're being awful today," or "she's being awful." Instead, if we use wow words, and I have a wow word each week on my website at www.babsyb.com. Every week there's a new wow word. And so you're building a stack of wow words, and it's all oral language, developing oral language. The word goes in here, and when it has been used in context, in daily living, enough times that the child then starts to say it. That is wow.
That is fantastic, Babs. And I think that is a great note to end our wonderful hangout with tonight. So I'm really, really excited that you've been on with us. I do want to give you the opportunity to share anything that's just on your heart, in your mind, that you want to tell people about Babsy B and the journey that you're on and the legacy that you're leaving behind, because I think it's extraordinary, because it comes at the foundational level. It comes at that level that I was reminded about when Robbie and I took a year-long journey around the U.S., which is how we met, Babs. And on that journey, 50,000 miles, people said, wow, you must have learned a lot. I said, oh, we did, but I can sort of put it in just a small bite here. And that small bite is, at the end of the day, I discovered that all of us want to love and be loved, and we all want to make a difference in the world. Mm-hmm. And when we have a great foundational, playing field, like you're teaching children, when that happens early on, they become the adults that dream, that consciously create. And it can just be so amazing. So leave us with some words of wisdom from Babsy B.
Well, I would say 3 things. Talk to your child, and make it exciting talk. Read aloud every day, even if it's 2 minutes. Read aloud. You can read the street signs. You don't have to buy anything to talk, and you don't have to buy anything to read aloud to your child every day. And then focus your talk around those read alouds. So if you read a good book, take that language right off the page and put it into your daily conversation with the child. Then the child sees the purpose of all that reading, all that stuff that they are going to be learning when they get to school. And they come to school prepared. So I invite you to help me on my journey by every child that you meet. Talk to them, read something to them, even if it's a sign in the store or on groceries or whatever, or give them some knowledge, some language, some knowledge with your voice and reading aloud, and focus that talk around something. And we're all building the future. It does take a village, and I need help.
Thanks so much, Babsy B. And what you just stated says to me, when we do these things that you suggested, we acknowledge that child. We acknowledge the individual. We help them feel like we're engaged with them, that we're interested in them. And I don't know a person alive, I don't care how old they are, there's nobody that I've met that doesn't enjoy when somebody acknowledges them and makes them feel like you matter. So here's what I want to end up with is, all of you matter. That you came and shared with us time and space during this hangout to listen to what Babsy B has to share with you. It's really an honor and a privilege, because your time's valuable, and we know you could have spent it anyway. That you spent it with us, thank you very much. I will look forward to seeing you on the next hangout. And Babs, again, my deepest appreciation for being on our hangout tonight. Bye for now.
Bye.